afternoon. We are joined by Matt Schlapp and David Mercer. Thank you guys for coming in.
Thank you,
Great
Peter.
to be here.
So the first story that we want to talk about, Tom Steyer. He's a Democrat. He's a billionaire. He has been running a national campaign against the Keystone XL pipeline. And he's from California, but he's been spending a lot of time in Virginia with Bill Clinton's best friend, Terry McAuliffe, trying to help him get elected governor. Is that helpful to have somebody from the West Coast come in who is very, the Keystone Pipeline is a very polarizing issue, but for this guy, the main anti-Keystone guy, to come in and help somebody get elected in a state that he really knows nothing about?
He helped in Massachusetts with the Markey Senate race. And we've seen, as we do in presidential politics, you have people from different states going for the national candidate. And this is a national race for all intents and purposes, aside from New Jersey, which is also going, but we know where that's headed. But with Virginia, what one would classify as a purple state, albeit having been won by President Obama in 2008 and 2012, two Democratic senators, it's now time that we can maybe make it a blue state, which counts in the grand scheme of things, and I think that is what we're seeing here with the involvement of others from outside Virginia itself.
Bring it on, baby. I mean, this guy, he is really, I mean, sometimes you can be wealthy, it doesn't mean you're wise, right? So he's not only going to spend all this money as an outsider coming in to fight against the concept of being energy independent, which, you know, seems like a dumb strategy for Terry McAuliffe, but he's also having all these press interviews where he's outlining what his strategy is. I mean, outsiders in states, right, and outside money in states, I can't think of a time where being public about it is good. It looks like California and California values on the fact that we shouldn't use things like oil and gas should be front and center in the Virginia governor's race. If I were Terry McAuliffe, I wouldn't be liking it too much.
Look, if you look at both fundraising reports of the two candidates, Cuccinelli and McAuliffe, they both have people from outside the state as well as inside the state contributing on this race, because it is only one of two governor's races. That's first. But second, look, if you want to talk on energy, here you have Cuccinelli, who is denying to the benefit of out-of-state energy companies to pay gas royalties to landowners in Virginia. That's something that Terry would not be doing and would do the reverse,
well,
but we don't see that.
Is that really, for either side, something that in the I live in Virginia, and I never hear anybody talking about the Commonwealth's energy independence. That seems to be like maybe 10th on the list of grievances that my neighbors would all have. Is it going to help either side to have that?
Well, that's my point. You get two problems here, Peter. The first thing is this perception that there's this outside money, this left-wing outside money that's coming into Virginia. The second thing is he's okay with tying it to his agenda. And his agenda is that global warming is destroying the world, and because of that we have to, like, drive our cars on algae or something.
And then we have the social conservatives spending oodles of money from outside the state on Cuccinelli's agenda, which has nothing to do with jobs, the economy, and the future of Virginia. So let's put it in perspective, and you're right, I think, Peter, that it's not the only issue being energy. It's a host. The transportation bill that Cuccinelli just was against, which we all know in Virginia, you need a transportation bill, and you need changes in the transportation arena. So,
well, and you had mentioned earlier that it's kind of a national race because McAuliffe is so close to the Clintons. But does Hillary Clinton need any help from Terry McAuliffe? I think I read somewhere today that they think it's going to, like, set up a farm team for 2016. You know, they're going to have a 3-year head start if McAuliffe wins. Does she need that?
Look, I worked for Terry for 10 years, and the relationship with Terry and the
Clintons,
be rich. Yeah, is very, very strong. And there are polls out now, you know, in Virginia of Secretary of State Hillary Clinton and Christie, and she's ahead by 5 points. I mean, it certainly helps when you have two Democratic senators and a Democratic governor make sure that you win Virginia post-Obama. That's whether Hillary runs or not. But certainly, this is a key race, again, I think, to turn the state blue.
The answer is no. The fact is Terry McAuliffe was a terrible chairman of DNC. We loved it. I was in the White House at the time. I remember the president said to me at one point, he's like, "Will they just keep reelecting this guy? It'd be great." Second of all, I went through 2 presidential campaigns. Having governors in swing states sometimes is very helpful, and sometimes is incredibly annoying. Terry McAuliffe might just end up being in that latter
Look,
category.
if I might just point history. President Clinton was the second only Democrat to be re-elected since Roosevelt. And Terry McAuliffe had a huge hand in that.
That was Bill Clinton, I hate to tell you.
I do have one final question and a quick answer from both of you guys. Also in Virginia yesterday, there was an Obamacare event in honor of the president's birthday yesterday. I don't know why the birthday party idea was to set up phone banks to call people in support of Obamacare. But anyway, they set one of these things up in Centerville, and one person showed up to run the phones. Does that signify a sign of waning support to come?
Two things that I understand is that there was a scheduling snafu in terms of the reporting of when it was going to be. And secondly, granted, we're now, August 5th, where Congress is in recess, and a lot of people are on the beaches and what have you. I think you're teeing things up for September and during the
Peter,
recess,
one person showed up because they were actually asking for a waiver.
Yeah. All right, that's a good place to end it. Matt Schlapp and David Mercer, thank you guys. Thank you for watching Power Play. We'll be back tomorrow. So long.